there. I had a couple questions on the difference between doing a Wheel of the Year versus a year ahead reading. And so I just thought I would really quick kind of compare the two of them, just to help you decide if you wanted to do one or both for yourself, but also if you're trying to decide which one to get for yourself, this might help you to see what the difference are. I can't say that there is, in my opinion, a massive difference between the two of them. I think the key here is that it's sometimes more, I think it's more in relation how you like to look at your year ahead, right? So the Wheel of the Year reading is starting with the winter solstice, or some people get Wheel of the Year readings other times during the year because something big has changed or when their birth date falls. But when we're talking about at the end of the 1 year, getting ready to do a reading to sort of follow throughout the year, it's starting at the winter solstice and moving all the way around to the fall cross quarter. And so you're pulling a seasonal card, right? So you're taking, or I'm taking a deck. Everybody, does different things in terms of their readings. But for me, and for my personal self, I do both, but I try to do it as something different. Like I do my Wheel of the Year sometimes as an animal reading, or most often as a rune reading. And then I do my year ahead in a, tarot deck, and that's how I separate them. But most of the time you're taking a deck of cards and you're shuffling, right? Then you're splitting however you like to split, do you. And I take the very bottom card when I shuffle and I pull that out as my card of the year. And this is an overarching card that is energy for me to tap into and keep stepping back into to most help me to navigate the coming year. Now, I'll usually make a geomancy sigil or a rune. This year I've been doing runes from the Anglo-Saxons set. So I'll pull a rune and say, okay, well, Solo here is also an energy that I can draw from. I might put this on a keychain, on a stone in my pocket. I might set this out. I might make a necklace or get a charm of the rune and wear that, but it is a power rune to aid, again, and all this is about aiding me to navigate the coming year. So year energies on the table, and then it's just pulling a card, in this case of the Wheel of the Year, from each of the 8 spokes of the wheel. So we would have the winter solstice, we would then have the winter's cross quarter, we would go into spring equinox, and then the cross quarter of the spring, we would go into the summer solstice, and then the cross quarter of the summer solstice, of the summer, we would go into the fall equinox, and then we would go into the autumn cross quarter in November 7th, or some people look at that as Samhain. So this would be a seasonal card. It wouldn't be as the month by month, but it would be at the turn of the season, this particular card. And when we look at it in a bigger pattern, we can get an idea of what you need to know about the overall pattern of the coming year. You're going to work with the winter solstice card from December 21st until February 3rd in the northern hemisphere, when it switches over to this energy, and then you'll be working with this card. So it's more of a seasonal walk through the year, understanding that what we plant here, we're also going to harvest here. And so you're using a lot of that seasonal planting energy of following the cycle of the year. But it does one thing very similar to the year ahead that we'll look at next, in that it gives you a card to work with. It gives you a rune for the year, gives you an overall picture of the year, and then it gives you something to walk through the year and say, somehow this card is going to help me to navigate from December 21st to February 3rd, and I'm going to put these in my calendar or somehow put these up so that I'm watching them over the course of the year as well. So that is the Wheel of the Year. This is the Greenwood Tarot. This is out of print, but you can get a similar with different artists with the Wildwood Tarot. So that is the Wheel of the Year. Now, the year ahead is the same concept. Not everybody follows the Wheel of the Year, right? I don't follow the festivals necessarily, but I do follow the turning of the seasons and the turnings of the cycles. But not everybody follows that, right? For some people, they don't live in areas in which that there is much of a change. For other people, they just, you know, it's not part of their practice. It's not something that they watch. It's just not in their wheelhouse, right? And so they do follow the traditional year with 12 months in it. And now they don't always start on January. Obviously, at this time of year, a lot of people are focusing on the new year and the coming new year. Some people do this every year on their birthday. Some people do it, again, something major happens. They're getting married. They've had a big job change. And that for whatever reason during the year, they feel like life has reset and they want a new sort of look forward over the coming year. But, you know, obviously a lot of people will do this, and I do this at the beginning of the year. Or for me, which is for me, December 21st. I don't know why I'm shuffling. It's just nature. It's nature. So this is the Okash and Thorn Tarot, and this is the Illuminated Earth Oracle, which I'm most often using these. The size is small. It just works. So this is doing the same thing, but it's looking at it monthly. The one difference here is that I do pull a quarterly energy, and I've done different things with this over the years, but it's pretty well solidified into really paying attention to where are there outer energies that could get in your way, and or sometimes you can utilize those. So I'll pull for January, February, March, April, May, and June, July, August, and September, October, November, and December. And I will look at those and say, okay, you know, sometimes it doesn't really matter. Like, it's not going to hurt one way or another. It's kind of neutral energy here. Mystery, that's a little bit dicey because you don't know. Things could go either way out in the world. Just make sure that you have your boundaries set. Destruction. You know what? There's going to be a lot of outer energy. When I say outer energy, I'm talking about outer world energy that you just don't, this is not energy you have any control over. It is going on in other people's lives around you, the greater world around you. You're going to feel some of that impact, but you can't really change it. So it's good to be aware of it so that you could, if it was something helpful, which sometimes it is, you could actually use that to support whatever it is that you're doing. But if it's something destructive and you're not trying to knock things down and sort of restart some things where it might be helpful, then you want to make sure you have good boundaries set up so that you're not taking on energy that's not yours and that you have no control over. So I just find it to be really useful to have a peek at that and how that might impact those months that are there. So start broad, look at that. Shuffle, 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 split however you want to split. Same thing, I pull the card from the bottom of the deck to get your card of the year. That's the same thing. It's an energy that is going to help you to keep stepping back into. You know, pull your rune of the year, which is a power that you can draw from over the course of the year. And then instead of doing it to the Wheel of the Year, we're pulling a card for every month. So obviously January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and I've kind of spread them back out to make a nicer circle. But we've got a card out for each of the months. This helps you to, again, same like the other, see a broad cycle that maybe you need to be aware of as you get ready to prepare for the year. But I believe both of these strongest part is during the course of the year. Okay, here it is going into January. There is something about the Five of Wands that is going to help you to navigate that, understanding that the energy might be chaotic. You might, make sure that you're extra grounded, make sure that you're doing some things to, having your schedule on point, doing some things to ground yourself and utilize that particular energy. And so then as you step your way through month by month by month by month, bam, there you have that aid for you. So they're both very similar. It's just a different way of either following the monthly cycle of the year or following the seasonal cycle of the year, or again, sometimes people do both. And then usually, this might matter whether or not you're are you a calendar person? Are you a person that, like me, that does work a lot with your calendar? Then this might be, I'm trying to see where I thought it was between, but I think it's between and going into my dailies. Yeah. So here is my page from last year for the Wheel of the Year. I have each of the months laid out with the card that I have. I put some pictures. I have my Rune of the Year. I pulled also a Animal of the Year. I also pulled the Wheel of the Year for the seasons through runes. So I have my Rune of the Year, plus I have a rune of each of the seasons. And then when you're coming to, you can make space to kind of reflect on what those are. There's different ways that you can tap back into that. Some people put them out. I have clips on the wall where I can clip my card of the month and the season, so that during that month and season, I'm paying attention to that and seeing how they can help me and how I can utilize that. So that's a way. I also have like a sheet that you can print out, where I've kind of recreated that for a disc bind or a ring binder. And then again, it has the positions for the monthly, and then for the seasonal. And then I do energetic check-in, so I can tap into that. So it just helps you to utilize that over the course of the year. But the difference there, for me, it's just in how how do you prefer to have, do you prefer month by month by month because you're a monthly person, you use your calendar, you want a card of the month, or are you a seasonal person who's really working with the Wheel of the Year? Then but they both can do the same thing in terms of what that forward planning, and then that walking your way through the year. So I hope that this helps just as we're coming up on that time of the year, and that may be something again that you do for yourself, or that you get readings from readers for, and so that might help you to be able to decide which way you're going, and how that might be useful to you. Again, I find them both useful. I find most people generally do one or the other, and it's just how they particularly like to see walk their way through the year. Okay, hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend.